Okay, so I need to show you guys something kind of insane. This is the official White House X account, and they are posting gaming montages, like hype edits. Montages pulled straight from early 2010s, like they're in FaZe Clan. But the difference is it's next to real footage of military strikes. Just casually, just like it's a normal thing to do. And then on the other side, different corner of the internet, someone is building a mod for Starfield specifically so they don't have to look at a pronoun menu for 4 seconds during character creation. Both of these things are politics in games, but only one of them got a 30-minute YouTube video and a bunch of content creators posting videos of them raging online.
Fucking pronouns!
Now, I'm not here to tell you what to think about any of this. I just think it's one of the weirdest contradictions in gaming right now. So let's start with the White House thing because it genuinely does not get enough attention. Somebody in the White House looked at the gaming audience and went, yeah, we need to weasel our way into that space. And fine, that's just marketing. Every brand does it. I guess even the White House has to do it. But the execution here is just something else. It feels so tasteless because it's not a game trailer or studio partnership. It's montages. It's the use of Call of Duty visuals applied to real foreign policy. The aesthetic of entertainment being used to make something feel exciting that probably shouldn't feel exciting. And look, I'm not saying it's the greatest scandal in American history, but it is a textbook example of using games as a political tool. The medium is being used to shape how you feel about something real, about real life. That is, by definition, the thing people say they hate about modern gaming. And yet, even after all that, there's no YouTube videos, there's no giant red arrows on thumbnails, no this is why I'm done with gaming videos. It's just total silence from the keep politics out crowd, which I find pretty interesting. Now we have to talk about the other side of this, because there is a real frustration underneath the politics and games conversation. It's just getting aimed at the wrong target most of the time. I want to use Starfield here as the example because I feel like it got so much hate for all the wrong reasons. And there were actually a lot of other reasons to genuinely hate this game. When Starfield initially launched, a very vocal part of the internet completely lost it. Not over the gameplay, not over the writing, not over the fact that the game shipped with 1,000 fucking loading screens. They lost it over the character creation menu. Specifically, a single screen that asks you to pick your character's pronouns. He, him, she, her, or they, them. You pick one, and then the game moves on. It is never brought up again. That was where they drew the line. And then someone in that very vocal part of the internet was so upset that they built a mod to remove the pronoun selection entirely. Which sounds like a solid plan if that's how you want to play the game. You download the mod, and you have no pronouns. Except they only removed he, him, and she, her. So everyone who downloaded the mod just defaulted to they, them. This mod that was designed to keep non-binary options out of the game made every single character non-binary. And I find that so goddamn funny. But here's the actual point underneath all this. The people boycotting Starfield over a menu screen said they wanted politics out of games. They wanted to escape. They wanted their hobby back. And I actually understand that feeling. When you want to decompress, you don't want to feel like you're being talked at. And that's fair. But if a 4-second menu screen counts as political contamination and the government wrapping military footage in gaming aesthetics doesn't even register to you, then the issue isn't really politics. It's more likely that one thing feels familiar and one thing feels new. And new things are scary. The problem is when that discomfort gets dressed up as a principled stance about artistic integrity. Because that same principled stance disappears the second the politics are something we're already used to seeing. Alright, so this is the part I actually want to spend time on. There is something genuinely frustrating happening in game development right now. It's not representation, it's the execution of that representation. Take Forspoken as an example. When that game came out, the immediate reaction was, this game is woke. It's got this super quirky, obnoxious female lead, and that was just an instant target. But the issue was actually the writing in that game. It was laughably bad. The main character talks like she's in some Marvel movie, and she's quipping at this magic bracelet. The world is ending around her, and she sounds like she's doing one huge bit.
Cross your heart and hope to die?
You wish me dead?
So that's not a woke problem, that's a craft problem. The character didn't feel real because the writing didn't make her real. It had nothing to do with who she was, but instead it had everything to do with how she was written. And that distinction is very important, because when you call bad writing woke, You're giving the developers the wrong diagnosis. If they don't fix the writing, they just get more defensive about representation and then nothing actually improves for anyone. Now compare that to Marathon, only because it's pretty relevant right now. And I know it's not a story game, so please bear with me while I explain this. Marathon is a deeply political game. The world is built around a future where 6 major corporations essentially run everything, and they don't try to hide that. The greed is out in the open. It's built into the environment, it's written into the lore. You're out in the world as a contractor for these corporations doing their dirty work. It's sci-fi, but it also feels like something that could actually happen one day, obviously in the far future, but it definitely feels real. And that genuinely unsettles me in a way that I kind of love. And the way that affects the gameplay is you feel insignificant in that world. Like you're disposable. You are disposable. You're a disposable runner in a system that doesn't care whether you make it back or not. And that makes you want to loot harder, push further. It makes you want to take risks that you probably shouldn't, because the world is telling you that nothing is guaranteed. The politics aren't a lecture in this game. They're the texture of the whole experience. And that's the difference. Forspoken's writing got in the way of itself. Marathon's writing disappears into the game. One game trusts the player and the other doesn't. At the end of the day, that is a craft conversation and not a politics conversation. So here's the thing that kind of reframes all this for me. Games have never not been political. That's just historically true. Metal Gear Solid is a game about the military-industrial complex. Spec Ops: The Line is a full deconstruction of American war fantasy, and it uses the look of a military shooter to do it, which is kind of the whole point. These games are certified classics, and they are completely soaked in politics. Nobody made, or at least I don't think anyone made, a video about Spec Ops being too woke, because the politics were packaged in a way that felt like art instead of an obligation. The craft of the game itself held that message together. So when people say they want politics out of games, I think what they're actually saying underneath all the noise is just make it good. Make me feel something. Trust me as an audience. And I honestly think that's completely fair. The White House using gaming aesthetics to make military action feel like it's some sort of highlight reel is a genuine problem. And on the other hand, you have developers who feel the need to add inclusive characters just to check a box. But in doing so, they end up making their identity the only personality trait that they actually have. And that's just lazy writing. One's using a game to sell you a war, and the other is using characters to sell diversity credits. And neither of them actually cares about games. So we just need to make sure that we're pointing at the right problem. Anyway, that's my take on all that. Come fight me in the comments if you want. Anyways, be safe out there, and I'll talk to you in the next one.